So joining us in the studio is Mr. Eloko Kafo, a public affairs commentator. He will be joining us to look at the papers and the news trending on the different dailies. Mr. Eloko Kafo, you're welcome to the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service. Welcome. We also have Mr. Herbert Oragwe, a public affairs commentator also joining us. Mr. Herbert, you're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service. And with that, we'll be running ahead. We'll be looking at the ABS website now and other national dailies. Starting from ABS website, 9 new priests ordained in Nnewi Anglican Diocese. 9 new priests ordained in Nnewi Anglican Diocese. Anambra government initiates small measures to promote technical education. Anambra government intensifies efforts towards achieving global action plan on HIV/AIDS. 2019, Anambra youth call for delimitarization of elections, increase voter education. ABGA to flag off national campaign on Thursday at Alex Ekweme Square, Oka. Those are the major stories on the website of ABS. There are some other stories that when you log on to the website you would get. Let's roll.
Yeah. Let's start with the Anambra State government initiating more measures to promote technical education. Mr. Oragwe, let me come to you. How do you see that?
Well, many things that is to move education forward is a good thing. What we begin to wonder is it free of charge? Is it to be paid for? And is it affordable? Technical education, yes. It is what is happening all over the world. And for Anambra State to step into it is good. But then, is it going to be a white elephant project like so many projects that we've had in the past? Are we going to see to the end? Is it going to be affordable? Do we have the financial muscle? Because when we talk about technical education, it involves an awful lot of money.
Apart from what is on ground now, what else do you expect?
Well, an awful lot more. We are thousands of years behind developed countries in technology.
Anambra State or Nigeria?
Well, Anambra State is part of Nigeria. So you cannot separate Anambra State from Nigeria as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine, let's move on. And then 2019 Anambra youth call for demilitarization of election, increase voter education. Elder.
Excuse me. Yes, I think that is very interesting. Coming from the youth constituency, what I call the youth constituency, it's very, very interesting to hear the youth calling, because most times when these elections are militarized, it is still the same youth that are engaged to militarize the election. So it's interesting to note that the call is coming from the youth. So
is it just the youths or the issue of bringing in soldiers?
Soldiers, too much
police,
policemen.
too much of them.
Yes. I want to understand the militarization from the perspective of thuggery. When military are deployed during elections, practically they don't do much. Just to provide a sense of security.
But such sense of security at times increases fear.
I want to believe that they will do their own sensitization. Pass a lot of information across to voters to understand that the military or the security generally are there to protect the citizens and not actually to scare.
Okay, because I know that Burutai recently said that they are going to deliver general election exactly the way they did in Ekiti. And we start wondering,
what my friend has just said, what he's just said is the ideal situation. That the military should be there to protect lives and property.
So what's the real situation?
But is that the truth? Is that what is happening in our polling stations and things? No, the truth is that these people, they work hand in gloves with some group of people in the government. We know that. Unless and until we call a spade, we're fooling ourselves.
Okay, let's move now to the Daily Sun. On the front page of the Daily Sun, we have, as Atiku flags off campaign in Sokoto, PDP declares total war on Buhari, urges Nigerians to vote out president as ex-VP prays at Othman Damfodiel thumb. Atiku bitter he doesn't have access to wealth as before. That's coming from the APC. Court grants EFCC permission to arraign Dizani and Omokore. DSS parades Aisha Buhari's impersonator. Those are the major stories that we have on the front page of the Daily Sun. The flag off of the PDP, their campaign at Sokoto yesterday, is throwing up some issues. We'll look at the words that were used by Atiku, assessing his viewpoint that his election will be based on issues, and the way he started yesterday, calling on tribal sentiments. Do you see the PDP sliding back to the old carnage of politicking in Nigeria? Let me come to you, Mr. Okafor.
Yes, I will not hold brief, or I wouldn't want to hold brief for any of them. But if we look at the atmosphere before now, the indicators are there. In as much as they profess issue-based campaigns and all that, there is this tendency for all the parties, especially the two principal contenders, to slide and run to the normal ethnic and tribal and religious sentiments of the people to actually do their campaign. So as we move on, I want to assume that we expect them to behave maturely, but then we don't rule out the fact that we'll have to prepare our minds to see more of such. Because in politics, as they say, all is fair. The important thing is that
PDP declares total war on Buhari. Is that what we should expect in this 2018?
Well, if it is war
is
about election and about politics, fair enough. That is what it's about. War, in inverted commas. But our problem in Nigeria is that we always canonize the criminals, and then we demonize the saints. You see, the question is, each and every one, what have they actually got to offer us? And then you find out that when someone comes from my village and we know that he's a thief, and is in power, we'll say, yes, we know he's a thief, but he is our thief, leave him alone. So that is where you see all this ethnic coloration that they put into politics. Until and unless we eschew this thing about ethnicism, I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba, I'm Hausa, we might not get to where we are going to.
Okay. Let's move on, Dave. Okay,
let's move to the Daily Times. On the front page of the Daily Times, the story on EFCC and the Diziani is still making the banner headline. Day of reckoning underway. Court okays EFCC's bid to prosecute Diziani. Omokore fixes February 5th for arraignment of ex-petroleum minister SKB Governor Dakin Gary. Others to be docked on December 6th over 450 million naira fraud. Excitement as Jonathan others lead PDP rally for Atiku in Sokoto. Buhari to UN, no country can confront climate change alone. Those are the stories that we have on the front page of the Daily Times. There are still other stories to follow.
Okay, maybe we'll look at this arraignment by EFCC and the mockery.
EFCC, I'm trying to understand, why is it taking EFCC almost 4 years to bring Diziani to justice? What is the problem here? I mean, by next year, May 29th, this administration would have clocked 4 years in office. And the Magu has always been there for this while. And we all know that before now, there has been this noise about Diziani being prosecuted. Why is it taking that long? I think if it's a system issue, the EFCC should actually go back and look at their processes. If there are need for more bilateral relationships, agreements, and all that with some of these countries, I think we have to improve and improve on them and make some of these processes work faster. Otherwise, we might, excuse me, then they run the risk of people misinterpreting what, the actions they are taking. I mean, we are in a political season now, and we know that Diziani has his own political camp. And perhaps the Magu man trying to prove some points at this stage. So if it's not taken carefully, if they don't become more professional.
Are you insinuating that this move now is political?
I'm not trying to insinuate that, but we may not rule out that possibility to actually hype and seem to have upped the game of fight against corruption.
Okay,
after all, the president corruption fight is one of his cardinal agenda.
See, but looking at the records of the EFCC and the prosecution, do you see them scaling through with this Diziani's case?
Well, it's a 50-50 situation. You see, when investigation lasts so long, that is where you have the chance of tampering with evidence. Yeah. Like my friend said, I don't know why it should take nearly 4 years for you to investigate a particular person. Even if she had sold the entire Nigeria, by now something should have been happening. Yes. Because all we know is rumors. And in the end, you might find out that Desian is actually innocent of all the accusations, because they haven't told us anything yet. All we hear is accusations and rumors.
Refund that she refunded some.
Where is the money that she refunded? You see, some of these things, we're not telling ourselves the truth.
I see.
Okay, let's run now to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian, why Northwest should vote Atiku Obi by PDP. Party begins presidential campaign in Sokoto. We will cast ballots for restructuring, Yoruba leaders vow. Police speak tough on weapon and rallies. Presidency orders immediate arms procurement for military. Nigeria gets fresh $200 million loan. Abuja National Stadium cries for help 3 days to National Sports Festival. Those are the stories on the front page of The Guardian. The ordering of immediate procurement of military arms. The Chief of Army Staff last week said that they've not received the $1 million release from federal government, and we're seeing this now. Is there is there a problem in our military order that we've continued on this system of fighting this Boko Haram war without results? Mr. Oragwe.
You see, the military and intelligence is one area where I hesitate to delve into. Chances are that they've acquired the arms that they need, but for strategic purposes, they've refused to tell us that they've acquired the arms. So that probably if it's Boko Haram they want to fight, they will catch them unawares. I want to believe that is the situation. Let us be positive for once. But in any case, if actually they've not acquired the arms that they need, and we know that Boko Haram has been there for near enough 10 years, and we are still planning to acquire the arms to fight Boko Haram, then we're going nowhere. Trust me. But again, let me say that on a positive note, chances that they've acquired everything they need.
But if they've done that, will the presidency still be ordering for immediate arms?
Well, that is it could be propaganda actually, so that they'll catch Boko Haram unawares. Boko Haram will think that we're still trying to acquire arms.
With over 120 soldiers dying on a weekly basis.
Let me not get into that.
Honestly, I would like to take an exception to the point. Okay. Because during Jonathan era, we are faced with this issue of arms acquisition. At a point, the president lamented that he was being frustrated from procuring the required armament to fight these people. Now, going to 4 years down the line, we are still talking about arms acquisition. What is the problem with our system? And as we dilly-dally, lives are being lost unnecessarily. Now, I am also about Boko Haram. Do they also rearm themselves? Where do they acquire their own? To the extent that we are being told that the Boko Haram guys have more weapons more than the Nigerian military.
Than a whole nation's military.
I mean, it doesn't add up, and it's unbelievable. And year in year out, people collect their salaries. Generals collect their salaries, sitting comfortably, seeing our boys being butchered by these boys, these guys, and we are being.
Stadium cries for help 3 days to National Sports Festival.
Yeah, it is the same our culture of a lack of maintenance. We are very good at putting up a very gigantic, as they call it, legacy projects. But we don't develop means to sustain some of these things and to make the projects become self-sustaining. So it's part of the things we are known for in this country, and it's quite unfortunate. I wish we can change. You
might find that this Abuja National Stadium, that on paper, it's been renovated 200 times in the past 20 years. That's the truth. On paper, you might find that they've just finished the renovation 6 months ago. And then when you get there on ground, that's what it is.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go on.
Good morning. I'm calling from Anambra.
Your name?
I'm talking about the issue of Boko Haram.
So what's your name?
What's your name?
On the issue. I'm talking about Boko Haram.
Yes, but we want to know your name. Okay.
Yeah, okay, this issue of Boko Haram. attacking Nigeria soldiers. We have a general receiving salary, and the rank and file soldiers dying in the war front. What can the big rank officers, general, both roll on and fight? And to be fighting, so that the rank and file soldiers to fight without weapons. This is unfair.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you
you.
went
You
straight
didn't
to the
tell us
point.
your name. Okay. So
On Punch this morning, we have our work against Ogun APC. Governorship candidate says Amoshun. Governor's loyalists defect to APM. That's the banner headline on the Punch newspaper. Vote PDP so that we can all have food to eat. Coming from Jonathan. Atlas grown states unprepared as post-festival returns 6 years after. Those are the major stories on the front page of the Punch. We'll also look at the Independent now. Crisis in INEC as Amina Zakari battles INEC chairman Yakubu. 2019, our work against Ogun APC governorship Uguba candidates. That's from coming out from the emotion, coming out from the reactions on the crisis of the ruling party, the APC. So let's look at some of the stories on that place. Crisis in INEC as Amina Zakari battles INEC chairman Yakubu.
Yeah, you see, when some of this news comes to the public domain, it raises a lot of concern by stakeholders on the preparedness of INEC to actually deliver a free, fair, and credible election. We know who Amina Zakari is. For people who don't, Amina Zakari is a relation of the president. In fact, Amina Zakari and the present minister of water resources, Adamu Suleiman, they are the same parents and relation to the president. Now, I think morality demands that this woman should have been asked to step aside, because he cannot be an umpire in an election. His close cousin or relation is a principal contestant. Now, look at the news we are having over the place, battling the INEC chair. And before now, there has been insinuated that Amina Zakari is the de facto INEC chairman, that some of our decisions are final. The chairman only confirms some of the things. So it gives a lot of stakeholders, voters, observers worry.
okay. For want of time, let's run.
Even though most have to be fair, she was not appointed by Buhari anyway. She was not appointed.
I would have wanted to ask, should people lose their job because their cousins get...
There are things that are very critical. A minister had to resign because of clash of interest between her office and the company he had interest. Now, as at that point, Batenadi was no longer in that executive director in that company.
Okay.
He resigned formally.
Okay.
All right, please, let's just take one story from Punch newspaper. Don't attack Malian herdsmen, Meiti Allah warns police and others. This one is coming from Punch, page 41. Don't attack Malian herdsmen, Meiti Allah warns police. All right, please, let's take that as to run away.
Well, I mean, Malian herdsmen in Nigeria doing what? Who are they? Where are they? Who is the chief security officer actually that should be in charge of all this? And who is Mieti Allah? Some of these things,
warn the police.
Yes. We don't attach seriousness to some of these things, you see. Someone should be in charge. Someone should have the teeth to bite. Why would some organization called Mieti Allah, or whatever it is called, wake up in the morning and warn the police? I mean, it's funny, really. The level of seriousness in this country, it's nothing to write home about.
All right. We'll call it a wraps on our newspaper headlines this morning. It's been hot, I bet, coming from the different papers for this morning. Let's run now by thanking Mr. Eloko Cafe, public affairs commentator, for joining us on this edition of Good Morning Anambra. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for thanking me.
And Mr. Herbert Oragui, a public affairs commentator as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And that's how we call it wraps for this morning from me and DJ. For this segment, newspaper headlines, our discussion segment
we're
comes
still very much around.
we're at 8.